Hello everyone, welcome to Zaref Game Dev, and in this video we are going to talk about the game which I've published on Play Store. The game's name is BoxTheLetter, and first we'll see how the game plays, and after that we'll talk about my experience of uh, what problems did I got and how did I resolve them. And it's just a simple game, but uploading on Play Store can be uh, pretty much difficult if you are trying it for the first time. So let's first see how the game looks, and if you want to know what problems did I got and how did I solve them, wait for a little bit. We'll just play the game first. So this is just the default starting screen, not much as I don't have much experience with the UI, and so I just use the default blocks which may be used in Tetris or any other game, and everything else is similar. All the icons you can get it anywhere from the web, and let's hit play. And currently there are three modes: the 3x3, the 5x5, and the 7x7. And we'll just play the default easy mode first, and let's also use play the two-player mode first. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple game. There is nothing much complicated. So that's just the gameplay. And if you can see, it's not like any other game. I just got the inspiration from one of the mini games. You can get any game like from the Play Store and take apart some feature of it and created some simple game. And let's go to the menu, and I have played 10 games. I can now unlock the dark mode, and let's play the dark mode because it looks much better. And this is the icon for logging into Google Play, as I integrated that Google Play Services SDK, and also the uh, purchasing, which is directly integrated through Unity. So let's hit play, and currently we'll go with 4 players. So it looks much better in the dark mode. And let's go from the main menu. And I'll always choose the 5x5 mode, and these are the settings. So now let's talk about first how I got the inspiration for this game. And it was a pretty simple game. As you can see, there are just blocks and the edges, and when we swipe we can color that edge or whatever you want to call, draw or anything else. But I've set up the mechanic pretty simple, so in Unity there's just the game object activates and nothing much. And that's it for the game, and when all of the blocks are filled we can directly remove it from the initial list and the game ends. And as also you can see, the UI is minimal, but it took at least a little bit difficulty in creating that, as a programmer I don't have much experience with creating UI and stuff. And before I started the game, as you know, if you are a coder, coding a game is pretty much easier. So the first thing you want to do is check how your game looks. And unless you create the game in Unity, it won't be possible. So first thing I did was opened up an uh, empty project in Unity, and togetherly, uh, I created one more project in Figma because there were not much difficult, and I had a little bit of experience in creating like web design templates and a little bit of UI stuff. Not good enough, but at least I knew how to create all that. Uh, what do you call? Uh, I don't even remember that. So that was just the basic UI. I just got the color palette from the internet, which colors are good. As you know, programmers don't know how to make things look good, but if you know how it does, I mean, how the game already looks, it just uh, you can code it up. So these were the basic colors I got from the web, and not much going on in the UI. Everything is pretty much flat, and as it's a simple game, we also don't need much. So that was just for the gameplay idea. I created a couple of screens of how the buttons will look, how the score is going to look, and you can also get inspiration from Dribble or whatever the second site was. I don't remember. So you can get inspiration from the web, look other players' UI or how it has, and there are pretty much so many sites. So the first thing you need to do, I mean, everyone else does, is see how your game looks and just draw it up if it's some other character type of game. But here it was like simple blocks, so I just drew up how my block was going to look, and this was the final screen I got up. And after that, what I did was, let's go inside the menu, and as you can see, I created all the UI. So these are just the sprites, and created all the screens for that. And as you can see, this is just a pretty much block and circles and icons, and then we'll go inside our player select screen, which includes all of my three boards, and finally our play button, which is just a rounded square. And I took it as 9 sliced, and whichever looks better, just use that. And as also you can see the UI, there is an option for changing the player name. No other text or anything else is needed. And when we click on this color, it just shows up our current color. And that was just for the UI. And after that, the gameplay stuff was easier, as I have pretty much good enough experience with coding. And that was just the game done. But after that, problems arrived. So I can play the game perfectly fine, but as I've not tested in a mobile, maybe issues will be started creating. And there was a problem with getting the input. So the input was, if we like drag from one cell to another, then only it was creating the input. But it needed much more refining. So that was the first issue. So you need to have your game like fully responsive. Nobody uh, like, if anyone is playing, they don't need to like have the UI click and don't know what the game does. So that was the first issue. And after that, there was a problem with the scaling. So I just set up the scaling to all screen size. So that's why my game I am able to play inside my PC. Well, it doesn't look much better, but at least it fits the whole screen. So these were the first two issues I got, and after that it was time to upload for the Play Store. So inside the Play Store, the first thing you need to do is create an empty project and add your details and everything and stuff. And so I started creating the screenshots, and after we have created our screenshot, it was time to add the login button, which was inside the start. And mm, I want to play the game and also not turn on the sound. So let me turn off my desktop audio, and you can only hear me. So I'll be playing the game and talking to you about what problems or issues I have created. And so the first thing was integrating the Google's Play plugin. So uh, there was some problem with the code as most of the login code is pretty much long. So I downgraded the original plugin to 10.14, which had just 2 to 5 lines of initialization code, and still there were much problems. So I don't know if I'll be using the latest version or not, but there were some issues. So that was the first issue, and after that, uh, yeah. So I started changing settings and everything and stuff, and finally, maybe there was some problem. So the first, of including in the Google Speed plugin. So the first problem was I minified my build version, so it didn't include some of the libraries. So don't change the settings later, and I didn't know till I installed the Unity editor again, and it was the latest version. And as I already created the project before, all I needed to do was just bring in the assets folder again, all the settings in the assets folder, and then reinstall the Google Play plugin. So that was done, and I had almost like 5 to 10 builds, and I'm not playing the game. So I had 5 to 10 builds, and after that, I was able to like not get the reference error, which was the Java library was missing. And that issue was solved because I minified the build. So the next issue was I don't know. I I mean I don't know exactly what it was called, but there was some problem with the login. So again, change different settings, got different scripts from the internet, and after that, I rechecked my Google Spy project. So the only problem was I had done everything correctly. Uh, the steps you can like get from any YouTube video. So the only thing missing was I didn't have my project live. So that was the second issue. So always recheck all those issues. And after that, I had almost like 30 to 40 builds done, and still the project was not working. And after it got working, it was time to add the Unity, not the Unity, in-app purchasing. So Unity had good solution for it. And again, in the in-app purchasing, there were some issues, and that was not from my side. It was from Unity, cause the previous what it was, analytics or the simple analytics, it got discontinued, and it was still live on the Unity console, but it was already discontinued. So my app was not live, and I just like created a Unity project to connect my in-app purchasing. So there were some issues for the build, and yeah, I created the what you call in the Google project, the billing or whatever the settings you need, and added it from Unity. And as there was no problem with the code, I just finished up with my game and uploaded to the Play Store. So if it does any errors, it doesn't matter, as you know, you are creating first the game for yourselves, and it is my first game, so it was done. And the only issues was the rate game was not working because I didn't know how to do it. So I just added the URL directly in the next build, and that was almost like 50 plus builds. And the error which I got where the first was the minified version. So don't use minified, doesn't matter if your game size is large. And if your game size is large, you already know how to do it. So for smaller versions, it was good. Finally, Play Store also strips apart code. So the final build was only 20 megabytes on the Google Play Store. So after that, I had uploaded my game to Play Store and I can log in and I can also buy. So the purchase option was showing perfectly fine. And the tools which help me get those errors, and as you already know, in using for Android builds, it's good to add logcat so you can get the errors for whatever it is working. And always try to set up like for the APK build. It's not necessary to upload it to the Play Store. The only place where a Play Store build is necessary is like when adding the purchasing settings and for the startups. So most of my time was wasted because I like the enable anti-piracy was turned on, so that's why I had to upload. I mean, I didn't need to upload it. I can turn it off, which I did after 3 to 4 days and 20 to 30 builds, and uh, not giving up. Finally, like enabling the piracy, so the builds were faster and almost 10 to 15 minutes. I can almost change different settings and already get to know what was the error. And finally, almost all the errors were fixed, and the game's live on Play Store. And Google does not like push your game out for any, even if it's a new game, instead of ads. So if you want your game to be shown to people, it would be good if you create a like promotion video and uh, launch it on some of the ad networks. So AdMob is the best one, so you can also use it. And it's just my first game, so uh, uh, my theory is like if the game's good enough and you are creating products for it, so people will buy it. So till then, the game is going to have zero purchases, as I myself don't have money to buy my $1 dark mode pack, and as it's also not necessary, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, there's combo here. The UI is not much more complicated, but it would be good if you get references for different games UI and don't always look for the same game you are creating. Uh, I mean, if you are creating a game for like a Match 3 or Flappy Bird, it would be good if you use similar like UI wherever all the buttons are, and so people will find it similar. And for the first game, I wanted it to be easier, so and unique. So this was just the game I created. And after fixing all of the errors, it was time to like upload my game to Play Store. And after 15 days of working, in which most of the coding part I almost like did in 2 to 3 days. The first 4 to 5 days were like used up in creating the UI and stuff, getting references from all over the games, how my game should look. And currently I'm trying to like uh, create one game per month. So also the concepts and everything, it would be good if you try to have not much difficult, but depending on your skill level, maybe you are good enough, you already have an idea, so get the references. Then coding part, mostly I think it should take around a week, and uh, you can do whatever you like. But that was my first game, and the game is live on Play Store. And if you are subscribed to my channel, uh, do install the game, and it doesn't take much space. So uh, if you want, you can uninstall it, but try to play for like half an hour, 1 hour. Most of the games like are pretty simple at first, but once you get the use of it, you'll know the charm. So that was it, and the game is live in Play Store, and the link is down below. Uh, I would like uh, how to call it. So if you are subscribed to the channel, so do check out the game and install it. And if you think the game is good and having the dark mode permanently is also you want, and uh, you want to support my channel or anything else, you can buy it. And it doesn't matter, I'll be creating games in which even if it is $1, 100 or 1,000, you'll definitely buy it. So that's it. And that was for the game. So you can play the game directly inside the Android. And as I've not launched for Apple because I don't have an Apple iPhone, or so many issues. And the main one is I don't have an iPhone, no developer account, and this developer account also I bought it like 2 years ago when I started creating games in Unity. I mean, it was no, not two. I think it was more than 3 years ago. And now, uh, like, we are continuing the journey for creating my games in Unity. And again, if you want to see more of the games, do follow the playlist, like the playlist, subscribe to the channel, and also download the game below. And if you guys watched till now, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next game, which may be in like a month or two, or maybe never.